Well, here we are in another one of our flip properties. Actually, we're not too sure if it is going to be a flip anymore because there's a bit of excitement in the air where people have been, as we've been refurbishing it, people have been saying, are you going to rent it? And because it's near a seaside resort, there's a possibility that we may even put it out for service accommodation because there's a lot of good money to be made. Anyway, back to this particular video, and as you can see, we've built this extension and the concrete floor went down yesterday. It's very, very important that when you lay a concrete floor, you do it in full compliance with building regs. Now, what does that mean? Well, we had to excavate down from the old floor level 450 millimeters down. So when we were excavating, it was a big dig. We had to get a machine in, as you can see here. And there were lots of things that we had to do. Now, because there wasn't good access, everything had to be wheelbarrowed out. So we had the excavator, mini excavator in here. We fill in the wheelbarrows and then handballing everything out. A lot of labor. And it's these type of things when people buy a property with very limited access from maybe for vehicular in the rear or the front. We couldn't put a skip out the front, so we've had to have a lorry in. And as you can imagine, we've had to keep an eye out for the traffic wardens and so on. So we've had to literally handball everything out, and it's cost a lot of money. So when you're buying a property, you have to bear these type of things in mind. So as I say, we had to dig down 450 millimeters. And then we had to find, luckily it was good ground. And then what you have to do is you have to blind the area that you've dug down to with hardcore. And what we then did is we put in 200 millimeters of hardcore, as you can see in the photo here. And then we've had to whack it down with a whacker to make sure it's nice and compact. And then you have to blind it with a little bit of sand. Now, why do you have to blind it with a little bit of sand? Well, on top of the hardcore, you've got to put a damp-proof membrane. And although the damp-proof membrane is quite thick, okay, if you don't put a blinding layer down like sand, there's a possibility that when you're laying the concrete or, you know, walking on it or anything like that, the hardcore could actually pierce the damp-proof membrane. So you put a blinding layer down, and also that blinding layer helps to level the floor off nice and smooth like a baby's bum. Anyway, so then you put your damp-proof membrane down, okay? And then on top of there, you put your nice thick insulation. I don't know if I got it. Oh, here we are, look. I got a little piece left over. Oh, back in the video, look. Okay, so we put the insulation down. And as you can see in this particular photo now, all the insulation is down. And then what you have to do is you have to tape all the joints up of the insulation so there's no gaps. And then what we tend to do on top of the insulation is we put a thin layer of polythene. And the reason we do that is because sometimes the concrete or a screed can react with the insulation. So you put another protective membrane down as well. Now, the other important thing is around the perimeter of the concrete floor is we put a little bit of insulation as well, because there is a cold bridge otherwise between the external walls and obviously inside on the concrete, and that will actually come through into the floor when the floor is finished. So you put a little layer of insulation all the way around as well. Also, what we do, as you can see, we put some reinforced steel in the concrete as well. It's quite a big slab, as you can see. And then, of course, what we do is we pour the concrete. And as you can see, it was done yesterday and it's already dry. Well, it's not dry, it looks dry, but it's hard enough for me to walk on. Now, this is a very important thing as well, because it looks dry, yeah? Okay, you walk on it, and to most people, it's dry, but it's not. The moisture content in this concrete will be incredibly high. Now, if, for example, you were to lay tiles on this, say, in a few days' time, it's highly likely those tiles will pop because the moisture content in this floor takes a considerable amount of time to dry. Now, as I say, it looks dry, but it's not. So the moisture content when you're laying floor, on average, I like to work to the rule of thumb of being less than 8%. And you can get special instruments that they don't cost much. You just put on into the concrete, press it into the concrete, and it'll take a moisture reader. So yeah, if you were to lay anything directly on top of this now, it would cause problems. So you have to get this floor to dry out. Now there are other methods of how you can overcome that, so you can lay tiles down maybe quickly, but I'll go through that in another video when we actually do it so you can see for yourself. Now I'm going to show you something else as well. Now as you can see on this side of the extension, okay, we've got a party wall. And above the party wall, we've constructed a flat roof, and you can see the double extension just up there. Now, what we've got to do is we've got to create an internal stud between the party wall and our extension. Now, the reason why we have to do that is because we've used this party wall as part of the extension on our side. We had to have permission from next door, but we need to create a cavity there. We need to insulate it, and we need to create some stud work. But not only that, as you can see above, we've reinforced the flat roof with extra timbers, but the party stud wall that we're now going to construct, okay, will help to support that particular flat roof extension as well. So it's very, very important that when you're refurbishing a property or doing any type of construction work, there are certain steps that you have to follow. Now, we've gone ahead and we've built the, put the flat roof on, but we're conscious that nobody really should be, standing on that flat roof. Not that they will, but they shouldn't really, because there may be a little bit of bounce in there, because the internal stud wall that we're going to put up, it could be done in block work, okay, but we're going to do it instead because it's a lot quicker, needs to just support that as well. So all these little things need to be taken into account. So as you can see, things are moving along quite nicely. Now I'm going to take you outside. Let me just grab my little Ouija stick, and we'll go outside here. Now then, what we've done is we're ready, as you can see, we're ready for the landscaping works to progress as well now outside, because we've cleared all the garden. And again, when you look at this particular picture, you can see how much rubble the previous builders, which is another story, were cowboy builders, how much rubbish they dumped in the garden to try and save money rather than getting rid of it, which they were actually paid to do. So yeah, we're now ready to get the team in to start landscaping whilst we carry on the inside. But as you can see, look, the extension is built, the roof is on, and whilst just before the landscaping team come in, we're actually going to render the extension, and as a gesture of goodwill for next door's wall, we're going to render their wall as well. And okay, it's going to create another moist protection against the bad weather on their wall, but also it's going to brighten up our side of the garden as well. So yeah, things are really, really moving along quickly. And of course, if you like what you see and what we teach, by all means give us a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe to this channel if that's where you're watching this video, and we'll be more than happy to send you a lot more tips and tricks and show you our projects as well as the other people who we teach on how to learn all about property. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.